How can you not be romantic about baseball? America's pastime is littered with iconic moments, both triumphant and heartbreaking. We have heroes and villains. We have curses, scandals, and tragedies. The pages of baseball's story have been written by a wide range of characters. Over 20,000 men have played Major League Baseball, and only a few have risen above the rest to make their claim as the greatest to ever step foot on the diamond. Today we'll be talking about Henry Aaron as the greatest baseball player of all time. Henry Aaron was born on February 5th, 1934, in Mobile, Alabama, to Herbert and Stella Aaron. Herbert was a hard-working, determined, goal-oriented man, and he passed those traits on to Henry. Herbert Aaron, like most people, wanted to improve his situation in life and make it possible for his children to have a better life than he did. To this end, he made it his mission in life to own a home, which was very rare for a black man in that time and place. He worked hard, always in segregated conditions, mostly in manufacturing jobs, and saved up to buy a small plot. He had his children, including 6-year-old Henry, walk around the town, collecting wood from abandoned buildings for their house. The threat of violence was ever present. Speaking or looking at a white person the wrong way could provoke retaliation. Occasionally, Stella would hear the sound of the Ku Klux Klan marching down the street. She would command her children to hide under the bed. Henry and his siblings did so, lying in fear, silently waiting for the terror to pass by. Young Henry obsessed over baseball as a kid. His brother, Herbert Jr., would fling bottle caps at him at full speed, and Henry would bat them with a stick, perfecting his reaction time and hand-eye coordination. Sometimes Henry and his friends would play baseball in Mobile all day, and even when the sun went down, the boys would light old rags on fire, toss them up, and try to hit them as they fell. Henry was determined from an early age to be a ball player. It was all he cared about and all he wanted. This determination was solidified when he was 14 years old. It was 1948, and the Brooklyn Dodgers were in Mobile for an exhibition. Henry decided to skip school, which he did frequently, to listen to the great Jackie Robinson give a speech. Jackie spoke about the difficulties that black people face in America and explained that the only way to rise above them was through education. This speech had the exact opposite of the intended effect on Henry. He was so inspired by Jackie's status and greatness that he became even more motivated to play baseball, and his interest in education waned even further. Henry skipped school so much that he got expelled from Mobile Central High School. He bet his whole future on his baseball abilities, and it paid off. In 1951, Henry Aaron was noticed by Ed Scott, a Mobile local and scout for the Indianapolis Clowns, who played in the Negro American League. Ed made his case to Stella, pleading with her to allow Henry to sign with the team. She was still hoping Henry would go to college, but his complete lack of academic effort made this effectively impossible. When Ed explained that Henry was a preeminent talent, possibly better than even Satchel Paige, she obliged. Henry signed. His time in the Negro American League was short and dominant. In just 14 games, he hit .483, had 28 hits, 15 runs, 5 home runs, 51 total bases, and 24 RBI, all of which led the league. In June of 1952, the Boston Braves reached an agreement with the Indianapolis Clowns to buy Aaron's contract. Henry Aaron was now a member of the Eau Claire Bears. Soon after he joined the club, an incident occurred which almost ended Aaron's baseball career. He He was playing shortstop, and the ball was hit into what should have been a routine 4-6-3 double play. Henry caught the ball from his teammate, tagged second base, and fired the ball hard to first. The runner, Chuck Wiles, hadn't quite gone into a slide yet, and Henry's throw hit Chuck directly in the ear, knocking him unconscious and sending him into a coma for 3 days. Chuck lost his sense of equilibrium, and his career was over. He never resented Henry, but Henry was very close to quitting baseball altogether, fearing he might kill someone the next time. Luckily, he continued playing, and he was soon promoted to the minor league Jacksonville Braves, who played in the South Atlantic or Sally League. Now, just because Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier in 1947, that did not mean that the leagues were completely desegregated. There were a handful of black players that were allowed to be on the same teams as white players, but the teams themselves and much of the country were still segregated. For example, when Henry Aaron joined the Jacksonville Braves, Felix Mantilla was brought in from Toledo, so none of the white players had to room with a colored player. Henry continued his meteoric rise, dominating the Sally League. As sports writer Red Smith put it, Henry led the league in everything except hotel accommodations. He led the Braves to the pennant, but more importantly, he met a young woman named Barbara Lucas, and they soon fell in love and got married. In the early 50s, Henry expected to be promoted to the big leagues to play for the Boston Braves, but owner Lou Perini had a different, radical idea. He was moving the franchise 1,000 miles west to Milwaukee. This is relatively common now, but at the time, it hadn't happened in half a century. But Lou Perini saw the writing on the wall that the Red Sox would continue to outdraw them, and so he moved. And thus, Henry Aaron found himself a member of the Milwaukee Braves. The Braves had a promising, exciting young team, including future Hall of Famers Eddie Matthews and Warren Spahn, as well as multi-time All-Stars Lou Burdett, Gene Conley, and Johnny Logan. But it was teammate Bill Bruton that helped Henry out the most as he came into the big leagues. Henry would say of Bill, "If it weren't for Bill Bruton, I don't know if I would have made it those early years. He was like a big brother and a father to me, all at the same time." Henry Aaron made his major league debut on April 13th, 1954, in right field. He went 0 for 5. But he would soon pick it up, hitting his first of many home runs on the 23rd and going 5 for 6 2 days after that. But hitting home runs was not Henry's goal. His model of success was not Babe Ruth, but Stan Musial. Henry's mission in life was to get 3,000 hits, and he accumulated 131 of them in his rookie season, which ended with him sliding into third base. His body traveled past the bag with his foot caught. He shattered his ankle. He recovered over the winter and was ready for more improvement in the 1955 season. In Aaron's first 3 years in the big leagues, the Braves were one of those teams we've seen a lot in sports history. They were good. They won a lot. They had star power. But they always found a way to blow it at the end. The Braves were managed by Charlie Grimm, who acted more like a friend and fellow player rather than a hard-nosed manager. He drank and socialized with the team, and he made some costly mistakes down the stretch as the Braves were threatening the pennant. They had great players and had great seasons, but in the end, they'd give the pennant away to the Giants or the Dodgers. Henry would say, "In 1956, we choked. If the Braves had gone just one game over 500 after Labor Day, they would have secured a one-game playoff with the Dodgers, but they couldn't even do that." Aaron hit well down the stretch, but Matthews and Adcock struggled. Henry had a fantastic season. He was the batting champion and led the league with 200 hits and 340 total bases. It was a great achievement, but 1957 would be even better for Aaron and the Braves. Henry started 1957 the same way he started every year, by rejecting the Braves' initial contract offer, sending it back unsigned. He was hoping for a $17,000 raise after winning the batting title, but only got an increase of $5,000. Henry's teammate Warren Spahn started the year out with a bold prediction. The Braves would win the pennant, play the Yankees in the World Series, and the Braves would win. New manager Fred Haney, who had replaced Charlie Grimm the previous year, expressed his confidence in Henry. "Aaron's the best hitter in our league. Yes, better than Willie Mays. He's easily capable of bettering his 1956 figures." The season started off great, with the Braves winning their first 5 games and 9 out of their first 10. Henry was hitting better than ever. In 57, he was first in home runs, first in runs, first in total bases, first in RBI by a wide margin, fourth in average, and third in slugging. He earned the NL MVP award for his efforts. The Braves, after years of good but ultimately disappointing seasons, finally won the NL pennant, and they won it convincingly by 8 games. There was hardly any doubt all season that the Braves were the best team in the National League. Their World Series opponent, just as Spahn had predicted, was the almighty New York Yankees. And at this point in time, the World Series was completely owned by the city of New York. That is not hyperbole. For the previous 8 years, no non-New York team had won a single World Series game. The Yankees, led by all-time greats like Mickey Mantle, Whitey Ford, and Yogi Berra, won 2 of the first 3 games. In Game 4, with the Braves desperate to not fall behind 3-1, Henry hit a 3-run homer in the 4th inning. The Braves held a 4-1 lead going into the 9th. Warren Spahn retired the first 2 batters. With 2 outs, the Yankees hit single home run to tie the game. The Braves went 3 up, 3 down in the bottom of the inning, so the game went to a 10th. The Yankees scored 1 run in the top of the inning, threatening to take a commanding 3-1 series lead. It looked like the classic Braves coming all this way just to blow it at the end to a New York team. But in the bottom of the 10th, it was Eddie Matthews, who had gone 0 for 8 in the first 3 games, who hit the walk-off home run to tie the series. The Braves would win 2 of the final 3 games to become World Series champions. It was a tremendous achievement and relief for the team, and Henry Aaron was indisputably the best player in the series. He led all batters in runs, hits, batting average, home runs, and RBI. The Milwaukee Braves were on top of the baseball world, and Henry Aaron was their shining star. Soon after such an outstanding performance and accomplishment, tragedy struck the Aaron family. In December of 57, Barbara went into labor prematurely and gave birth to twin boys, one of whom died 2 days later. Henry experienced the highest of athletic highs and the lowest of all possible human lows within 2 months. Still, he continued on. Throughout his life, and especially during his playing career, Henry Aaron had a strange and often tense relationship with the media and the public. Even the name Hank, or the more casual Hammerin' Hank, shows the disconnect between the man himself and his public persona. He always preferred to be called Henry, and those closest to him always called him that. But the fans and the media mostly called him Hank. There were times when he would try to express himself, his thoughts and opinions, to the media, but he always felt he was being misrepresented or mischaracterized. And when he would express his opinions on the civil rights movement, media would often speculate that it was his wife forcing him to express those opinions. Aaron himself explained it. "It never did any good. I would try to correct them, and they would get the correction wrong, and I'd have to correct that. So I just let people say whatever they were going to say." Henry was a man with a job to do, and that job was playing baseball, and he did it better than anyone. But professional sports is not just about being good at the sport. It's about drama and characters and story. The fans want to know and relate to the players. Or, at least, they want to feel like they know the players. But Henry wasn't particularly interested in celebrity or star status, so he didn't really play that game. He would often be the first to the clubhouse after a game, change quickly, and leave before reporters could question him. He understood this dynamic with the fans and expressed it well. You know what the hardest thing is? What nobody wants to understand is me. People want their memories of me to be my memories of me, but you know what? They're not. Henry was not a huge celebrity like many athletes are. He spent his off seasons out in the wilderness on long hunting trips in South Dakota. He liked the outdoors and the solitude. On his way back to Wisconsin, he would often visit children in a mental health hospital, not in front of the cameras, not for the newspapermen, just him trying to put a smile on the children's faces. It's difficult to win the World Series. It takes good players, smart managing, and timing. A bit of luck doesn't hurt either. The Braves did make it back again in '58, facing the Yankees, again. It went 7 games, again, but this time the Yankees won. '57 would prove to be the only time Aaron would be on a championship-winning team, but he cemented himself as an all-time great throughout the '50s and '60s. He had one of the most consistently productive stretches in baseball history from '55 through the end of the '60s. He led the league in home runs 4 times, RBI 4 times, and total bases 8 separate times. Understated, reserved, consistent greatness is still greatness. As the '60s gave way to the '70s, a certain record felt within reach for the boy from Mobile. 13 years before Henry Aaron was born, Babe Ruth set the career home run record. His next 575 home runs just added to the record. It was the biggest record for America's pastime, and in the '60s and early '70s, 2 men were chasing it: Willie Mays and Henry Aaron. The two would always be compared and contrasted because they were the 2 premier black players who joined the league after Jackie Robinson. Henry saw the effects and bizarre contradictions of racism firsthand. When he became a star player, the Elks Club of his hometown of Mobile decided to honor him, but Henry's father was denied entry, and Henry was forced to take the rear exit after the event. He explained this type of contradiction perfectly after he and Mays went on a barnstorming tour. They won all 32 games, by the way. Henry said, "It was okay to be black in the South, but only if you happened to be Willie Mays." Still, the 2 men hit home runs, but Willie's home run production dropped significantly in 1967 at the age of 36. Meanwhile, Henry was as consistent as ever, and he actually passed Mays in 1968. Now all speculation shifted to Aaron. Some numbers in sports carry an iconic weight: 56, 88, 100, 406. 714 was one of those. The number seemed to capture Babe Ruth's mythical status. As Henry Aaron, a black man from the Deep South, approached the most iconic records from the most iconic white athlete, in the wake of the Civil Rights Movement, national fervor ensued. As he got closer, he received mountains of letters filled with racial slurs and death threats. He read them, and he kept them. The death threats were taken seriously, especially because in the previous 10 years, there had been several high-profile assassinations. A personal bodyguard was assigned to him, and on the road he would book 2 hotel rooms. One in his name, which was left empty, and one under a fake name where he actually stayed. The chase came to define Henry Aaron in the minds of the public, and Henry knew it, and he didn't seem to care for it. Later he would say, "Hate mail and home runs. You know, there's more to me than that. But nobody cares. It's the only thing people care about." And there was more to him than just that. There was the cute fact that, because he was confined to hotel rooms for his safety, he started watching and got addicted to soap operas, like As the World Turns. There were his strongly held personal and political opinions. Henry Aaron had a complex, rich, full life, But great athletes tend to be defined, in the minds of the public, by their great athletic achievements. Aaron ended the 1973 season with a total of 713 home runs, just one behind Ruth. Along with the hate mail, Aaron received letters encouraging him to gracefully retire so Ruth could keep the record, as some sort of weird tribute, as if it was wrong to take the record away. Henry refused. In his first at-bat of the 1974 season, he hit a 3-run homer to tie the great Bambino. For 4 days, the two legends shared the record. Every time Aaron came up to bat, the crowd held its breath, waiting for history to be made. On April 8th, the Braves hosted the Los Angeles Dodgers in front of 53,000 fans. In the bottom of the second, Aaron stepped up to the plate, the eyes of the nation on him, the record on everyone's mind, and he walked. That's how baseball is. You gotta wait. And so everyone waited until Henry stepped back to the plate in the bottom of the fourth. First pitch from Al Downing, low for ball 1. Aaron gave a few practice slaps with the bat as he waited for the next pitch. Downing started his windup, whipped a fastball down the middle, and Aaron swung and made solid contact. The ball rocketed off the bat towards left center. Dodgers outfielder Bill Buckner scaled the wall, but it was gone. The crowd erupted as Henry trotted around the bases. 2 teenagers ran onto the field to pat him on the back and run alongside him. The Braves all waited at home plate to congratulate him. His mother hugged him and held him tight. This was not just a celebration. She felt that, on the off chance that there was a sniper in the stadium, they might not take a shot if she continued to hold him. It was done. He had done it. Dodgers center fielder Jimmy Wynn summed it up like this. It wasn't about numbers. It wasn't even really about Babe Ruth. It was about him breaking a white man's record. Everything he went through was happening because he put himself in a position to break a white man's record. You see, that record, it belonged to them. And in a lot of ways, to them, the ones who wrote those letters and said those things, Henry Aaron was taking it from them and giving it to us. He was giving us a little something more than what we had, something that we'd never had. The 1974 Braves were okay. They won 88 games, but they also missed the postseason by 14 games. Aaron hit 18 more home runs to finish the year at 733 for his career total. Not quite his superstar numbers, but still solid. And there were still signs of his old greatness. One cocky young Giants pitcher named John Montefusco talked down on the Braves, saying it was a waste of his talents to even pitch against them because they were so easy. It was supposed to be an off day for Aaron, but he inserted himself into the lineup and homered off the young rookie pitcher. And in the final game of the season, in the bottom of the 7th, Henry hit a home run off Cincinnati's Raleigh Eastwick. He ran around the bases, ran to the dugout, down the stairs, and ran into the clubhouse. He was done. He was done with the Braves franchise and done with the city of Atlanta. Just like Ruth went back to Boston, Hornsby went back to St. Louis, and Mays went back to New York, Henry Aaron was going back to where it all started, Milwaukee. He would later describe his move to the Brewers like this: "Everybody wants to turn back the clock, but I discovered the same thing that Ruth, Hornsby, and Mays did. You can't do it." He hit 22 home runs in his 2 seasons with the Brewers, bringing him to a total of 755. In his last major league at-bat, he got a hit and drove in a run, bringing his RBI total to a staggering 2297, a record that stands to this day. And that's Henry Aaron's main legacy on the diamond: an unprecedented level of productivity, consistency, and longevity. His all-time numbers are incredible. First in RBI, second in home runs, third in hits, and fourth in runs scored. Simply colossal numbers. And of course, there's the famous stat where if you took all of his home runs away, he'd still be in the elite 3,000 hit club. That's the thing about Henry Aaron. He wasn't really a traditional power hitter. He was just a great hitter who happened to break the all-time home run record. The great Ted Williams summed it up best. How the hell does he do it? There's no such thing as a front-footed power hitter. You can't hit for power off your goddamned front foot. And yet, he did it. And he was clutch, hitting great down the stretch to win the pennant, hitting amazing in the World Series, home runs when his team needed it the most. Chuck Tanner described Aaron's clutchness like this. I don't know if there was a way to figure it, but I felt it then and I feel it now. There wasn't a player I'd ever seen get more hits with 2 outs than Henry Aaron. A 2-out hit, one that scores a run, is just devastating to a pitcher. It's like a tease. You think you're going to get out of it, but you're not. Before you know it, you're dead meat, mister. Baseball fundamentally is about runs, and no one drove in more runs than Henry Aaron, the greatest baseball player of all time.